Chapter 1. The Rebirth of the Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Rebirth of the Emperor. Midnight, in the interns' dormitory of the Jiangnan Hospital in the Jiangnan city. A young man suddenly sat up from a sound sleep, and when he looked around, he was rocked inside out. Am I on the earth? Wasn't I taking a heavenly test? Why am I here? Could it be that I come back? The man was named Tang Long, also known as Emperor Greenwood, one of the 5 emperors in the cultivation world. He died of being struck by thunder of 9 heavens when taking the heavenly test, and nothing of him was left. To his surprise, he was reborn on earth. Though he had always been a cynic and taken his life as a game, he was wild with joy that he could go back to the earth. Before he was brought to the cultivation world by Yimu Zhenren, for the nature of his body was wood, he was an unsuccessful worker on the earth. During the last 500 years, relying on his amazing talent, he had managed to become one of the 5 emperors in the cultivation world. However, he still missed Earth very much and wanted to come back, just that he could not find the way. He had never thought that a part of his spirit would come back to the earth after he failed to pass the heavenly test, which achieved his dream. Wait, as only a part of my broken spirit survived, where did I get this flesh? Tang Long closed his eyes slowly, and a moment later, he finally understood what had happened. Under the strikes of the thunder of 9 heavens, a part of his spirit had broken through the void and made it to the earth. It later merged into this flesh unconsciously. However, as Emperor Greenwood, his spirit was so strong that even its broken part was 100 times more powerful than that of a human being. After they merged into one, his spirit took control of this flesh and became its new owner. Tang Long could not help but sigh over the twist of his fate. His survival was of little probability, but he did it. What happened had happened, so he could only say sorry to the original owner of this flesh and accomplish what the owner had not achieved. The soul of the owner did not disappear but merged into Tang Long's. The owner's memory was reserved completely. The owner was named Qin Haodong, an orphan, and was adopted by a traditional Chinese doctor. Now, he was a senior student of the Jiangnan University School of Medicine and worked as an intern in the hospital on vacation. Being brought up by a traditional Chinese doctor, his biggest wish was to find his biological parents and carry traditional Chinese medicine forward. Carry traditional Chinese medicine forward. Easy. Tang Long was the best expert in the medicine in the cultivation world, and the eternal life obtaining greenwood he practiced had been enhanced during his curing people. However, finding Qin Haodong's biological parents would be a long course, which would totally rely on an opportunity. From this moment on, the Emperor Greenwood, Tang Long, would start a new life as Qin Haodong. By the way, which year is it now? Tang Long's spirit had traveled here through the void, so he had no idea which year it was now. He took up an old dummy phone on his bed and checked the time. It showed July 2nd, 74 Huaxia calendar. When he was brought to the cultivation world by Yimu Zhenren, it was January 1st, 70 Huaxia calendar, and was barely 5 years ago. He was a masterful figure in the cultivation world, so, even he was reborn on the earth, he had to be powerful as well. Since he had lost all his cultivation and treasures, he had to start from zero and take his time to cultivate. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong sat down on his bed with his legs crossed, starting to practice eternal life, obtaining greenwood. After a long while, he let out a mouthful of turbid air, and his eyes sparkled. There is too few spiritual qi on the earth. Based on my current spirit, I could only cultivate to the middle stage of the qi refining realm at a time and could barely finish establishing my foundation. Qin Haodong shook his head. He had no other choice but to be patient. Right then, the dummy phone beside him rang out. He checked the call and found it from the chief doctor Ma Guoqiang. Ma Guoqiang was notorious in the hospital for his greed and lechery. Last day, he tried to make a pass at a female intern, which was interrupted by Qin Haodong. Therefore, Qin Haodong could tell that there was nothing good behind this call. Despite of this, Qin Haodong still answered the phone. Ma Guoqiang's hoarse voice immediately came to him. Little Qin, the emergency department is short-handed tonight. We need you to work overtime. Qin Haodong replied at once, Dr. Ma, I just have worked for 2 days. It's time for me to have a rest. As a young man, it's no big deal for you to have more work. You have to deserve the internship we offer to you. I'll give you good remarks on your report. After saying this, Ma Guoqiang hung up the phone. Qin Haodong understood that this dirty man was trying to make trouble for him. By mentioning his report, this man also tried to threaten him. However, Qin Haodong had to obey Ma Guoqiang as he would have to get his internship report from him. Moreover, he had decided to develop traditional Chinese medicine, thus, he could not leave a stain on his career just as he had taken over this flesh. He got up, changed his clothes, and went to the emergency room. After Ma Guoqiang hanging up the phone, a cold smile appeared on his fat face. He had had his eyes on that female intern from long ago, and it had been really hard for him to find that chance to do what he wanted. However, Qin Haodong ruined it, which pissed him off. If Qin Haodong was someone with a background, he would let the matter down, but Qin Haodong was just a poor and support less student. Tonight, he was on duty. He had to take the chance to teach this reckless intern a lesson, telling him whom he should never piss off in Jiangnan Hospital. Qin Haodong got busy after he entered the emergency department, which would receive the most patients in the hospital. What was more, Ma Guoqiang made things difficult for him on purpose by leaving everything to him. He even had to do a nurse's work. Seeing that Qin Haodong was up to his ears in work, Ma Guoqiang was quite complacent. He walked to Qin Haodong, belly up, and said with a cold smile, never forget that you're an intern here. You're not experienced and don't have good skills, so, it's fair for you to do more menial works. Qin Haodong glanced at him indifferently. In fact, those works were nothing difficult for him, and instead, he treated them as a kind of cultivation. So, Dr. Ma, your skills are pretty good, right? Of course, I became a chief doctor when I was barely 40, and I'm highly respected in this hospital. Even our director thinks highly of me. What did I rely on to earn all those? My good skills. On hearing those words, the nurse standing beside Ma Guoqiang laughed secretly because everyone in the hospital knew that Ma Guoqiang was better at flattering people than healing them. That he could be a chief doctor had nothing to do with his medical skills, and all he relied on was his teacher, Zhang Tianhe. Zhang Tianhe was a leading medical expert in Jiangnan City, highly skilled and well connected. Even the director of the Jiangnan Hospital, Wen Changjiang, had to show due respect for him. Open your eyes, boy. You must know whom you can never offend in this hospital. Don't try to displease them. If only I'm pleased, I'll guide you with my skills. You'll be benefited from this for the rest of your life. Just as Ma Guoqiang was making his speech, a middle-aged couple pushed the door open and walked in. The woman was hunchbacked with her hands covered on her belly. She looked pale and had an expression of pain on her face. Her steps were halting and unsteady as her husband helped her forward. Doctor, help. My wife has a bad stomachache, the middle-aged man said anxiously. Don't worry. With me here, she'll be fine, Ma Guoqiang answered confidently, looking like an illustrious doctor. He asked, when did it start? The middle-aged man answered, not long ago, her stomach suddenly started aching when we were eating. Ma Guoqiang asked them some more questions and wrote down a prescription while ordering the nurse, she has acute gastroenteritis, prepare to get her an infusion. Doctor, hurry up, please. My wife is dying of pain. Take this to get your medicine. Gastroenteritis can be easily cured. She'll feel better after getting an infusion. Ma Guoqiang handed the prescription to the man as he talked. The man received the prescription and was about to leave to get their medicine when Qin Haodong stopped him with saying, wait. Doctor, is there anything else? The middle-aged man asked in astonishment. Stay here, your wife doesn't have any gastroenteritis. Everyone changed their expression after hearing Qin Haodong's words. Ma Guoqiang's face darkened visibly. Qin Haodong, do you have any idea of what you are talking? Of course. Qin Haodong smirked and continued, I'm saying that the highly respected Dr. Ma of the Jiangnan Hospital, to whom even the director has to show due respect, misdiagnosed. Your patient is not suffering gastroenteritis. Misdiagnosed. Bullshit. The symptom shows that she has acute gastroenteritis. How could I misdiagnose it? Ma Guoqiang shouted exasperatedly. Seeing that the doctors had different diagnoses of her wife's illness, the middle-aged man was in a panic. He asked worriedly, Doctors, whose order should I follow? Qin Haodong continued, Your wife is having a heart attack, not gastroenteritis. You. Qin Haodong, don't forget that you're just an intern. Ma Guoqiang then turned to the middle-aged man. Don't believe what he said. He is an intern and hasn't obtained a medical qualification yet. I'm the doctor of this hospital, a chief doctor, and your wife is actually having acute gastroenteritis. When Ma Guoqiang was sputtering, the middle-aged woman suddenly fell down to the ground, and her face looked even paler. She started twitching slightly, foaming at the mouth. Well. Ma Guoqiang was wordless. No matter how stupid he was, he could tell that the women did have a heart attack instead of gastroenteritis at the moment. Doctor, what should I do? The middle-aged man was panic-stricken and looked at Ma Guoqiang with a worried expression. She is having a heart attack. Transfer her to other departments. Ma Guoqiang was in a panic as well. If the woman died of a heart attack because of his misdiagnosis, he would be responsible for it. It's too late. Qin Haodong took out a bag from his pocket as he said so. He unfolded it, revealing hundreds of silver needles in it. With a speed of lighting, he inserted a dozen needles into the acupoint on the woman's chest. He always carried silver needles with him as he had studied traditional Chinese medicine since he was a child. Qin Haodong, what are you doing? Ma Guoqiang asked and was about to stop Qin Haodong, however, he saw that the woman's symptom was relieved after getting Qin Haodong's treatment. She looked rosy a little bit, and her breathing became steady. She stopped foaming at her mouth, and her pain had gone. This. Ma Guoqiang, the middle-aged man and the two nurses were dumbfounded to see this. None of them had thought that the young Qin Haodong had such an amazing medical skill. Though the woman's heart attack was in a sudden, it was not serious. She was in a normal physical condition again after Qin Haodong helped her open her blood vessels. Putting back the needles, Qin Haodong took the prescription from the man and wrote down another prescription. Your wife's heart attack hasn't been cured. Take medicines as the prescription says and she will be fine after half a month. Chapter 2. My daughter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. My daughter. After looking at his wife, who looked normal again, the middle-aged man said to Qin Haodong with great gratitude, Thanks, Dr. Qin. Thank you for saving my wife's life. You're welcome. It's what a doctor should do. Qin Haodong said. Dr. Qin, there is one thing I can't understand. I was having a stomachache, but why did I have a heart attack? The middle-aged woman asked curiously. What she asked confused Ma Guoqiang as well. He was wondering how this woman had a heart attack but showed a symptom of a stomachache. Qin Haodong answered, Our hearts are connected with our abdomens as well as our small intestines. Isn't it simple knowledge that every doctor should know? You're great, Dr. Qin. So young and so skilled. As the middle-aged man said so, he turned to look at Ma Guoqiang. Not like someone else who claimed to be a chief doctor. Bullshit. Let me say it, he is just a quack. After saying this, the man and the woman thanked Qin Haodong again before leaving the emergency room together. When they left, the room was filled with an awkward atmosphere. The two nurses could not help but look at Ma Guoqiang with strange expressions. Being slapped on the face in front of others after boasting his skills, Ma Guoqiang was flushed with embarrassment. He felt ashamed. He thought that the intern should be to blame for everything. After a moment of silence, he was shamed into anger and shouted, "Qin Haodong, you just treated a patient as an intern. You broke our rules. I'll report this to the director, and you'll be kicked out from our hospital. Do you really dare to do that?" Qin Haodong looked at Ma Guoqiang with a smile. "I'm just an intern, and it doesn't matter if I'll have to leave Jiangnan Hospital. I can find another hospital to gain an internship. However, as a chief doctor, you misdiagnosed a heart attack as acute gastroenteritis, nearly causing a serious medical accident. If our director gets to know this, what do you think of whether you can continue to be a chief doctor here or not?" This. Ma Guoqiang was speechless. If the management of the hospital knew his misdiagnosis, he would lose his job, and even his teacher, Zhang Tianhe, would not be able to help him. He said those words on impulse, and now, he calmed down. Just as Qin Haodong had said, he dared not to report this thing to their director. Qin Haodong stopped sparing Ma Guoqiang any glance, ignoring the eyes filled with hatred on him. He was Emperor Greenwood, and in his eyes, Ma Guoqiang was like an ant. Nobody would care about an ant's feeling. Face darkened, Ma Guoqiang pulled a chair to his side and sat down on it. Logically, he should thank Qin Haodong. If Qin Haodong had not corrected his mistake on time that day, he would be dead. However, Ma Guoqiang did not think so. Instead, he took it as a purposive humiliation from Qin Haodong. He made a decision in secret that he must find a chance to take revenge. Since both Qin Haodong and Ma Guoqiang remained silent, the two nurses did not know what to say to them. The emergency room fell into dead silence. Right then, they heard a screech of brakes from the outside. An SUV parked at the front door. When the door of the car was opened, 4 to 5 bodyguards in black suit jumped out from inside. They carried a woman covered in blood with them. "Help! Where are the doctors? We need help." The leading bodyguard rushed forward in hurry with the other 4 bodyguards carrying the woman behind him. They ran into the emergency room. "What has happened to her?" Ma Guoqiang immediately walked to them. He could tell those men were not normal people, so, he took them very seriously. The leading bodyguard continued shouting, "Hurry, save her. If anything unfortunate happened to my boss, you'll all be dead." Right then, Ma Guoqiang could see a line of words on the name tags on the bodyguards' collars, which were read as Security Department of Lin's Group. Ma Guoqiang was frightened to quiver. Lin's Group was a leading financial group in Jiangnan City, and the chairman of this group was Lin Ziyuan, which meant that the wounded woman was his daughter. The group was rich, powerful and would donate many medical devices to Jiangnan Hospital every year. Thinking of this, Ma Guoqiang immediately ordered the nurse near him, "Take her to ICU and get her an examination. I'll connect with my teacher right now." The hospital was always fast in dealing with patients with special backgrounds. In less than 20 minutes, the examination result of the woman was sent to Ma Guoqiang's desk. Reading it, Ma Guoqiang was shocked. The woman was wounded badly. She broke her both legs and 5 ribs, and one of the broken bones was stuck into her lungs. It was a miracle that she held on for so long. "Are her wounds serious?" the leading bodyguard asked worriedly. "Yes, very serious. She needs an operation right now." "Then, what are you waiting for, doctor? Why don't you start operating?" The bodyguard shouted angrily. "Start operating? I have to be good enough for that first." Ma Guoqiang knew very well about his own skills. The woman was wounded so badly, so, even if Zhang Tianhe carried out the operation, he would only have 20% of certainty of success. Of course, Ma Guoqiang dared not to speak out what he was thinking. He wept off the cold sweats on his forehead and said, "The patient's wounds are too serious, and it will be a messy operation. The chance of success is little in our hospital, so I suggest that you should transfer her to other hospitals. Transfer to other hospitals. The leading bodyguard was nearly mad after hearing those words. He shouted with his eyes red. This is the best hospital in our city. Where else can we transfer her to? The chance may be bigger in our capital. Ma Guoqiang answered, shivering. Capital? Are you a fool? Don't you know how distant is the capital from us? The leading bodyguard thundered. If it were not for that he still counted on Ma Guoqiang to save his boss, he would have beaten him. Ma Guoqiang replied in a hurry, relax. I've notified my teacher of this. He will arrive soon, and he must know what to do. Ma Guoqiang squealed in secret for his bad luck tonight. Bad things came to him in succession. The leading bodyguard seemed to calm down a little after hearing Ma Guoqiang's reply. However, the wounded woman suddenly began to cough violently and spat out mouthfuls of bloody foam, following which, the monitoring device started making ear-piercing sounds. Qin Haodong had been watching aside all the time, and he frowned at the moment. The woman's injuries were very serious, and her breathing was dying out. If she could not get treatment timely, she would die. Right then, a woman in a business suit ran in with a 4.5-year-old girl in her arms. The girl was pretty, wearing a white dress and looking like a princess in the fairy tales. She carried a pink school bag on her back, so cute and lovely. The woman was named Nbairu, the assistant of the president of Lin's group, and the little girl was the wounded woman's daughter, Tang Tang. Nbairu shouted at the leading bodyguard, Zhang Desheng, why hasn't boss gotten treatment yet? You neglected your duty. Miss N, boss is wounded too badly, and the good.4. doctors here couldn't carry out an operation. We're waiting for experts to arrive. We can't wait. Just waiting will kill her. Nbairu thundered. Seeing the woman on the bed, the little girl was puzzled for a moment before crying out. Mommy, wake up. I need your hugs. Tang Tang had seen many babies who were left alone because their mothers died on TV. Thinking that she might lose her mom, she cried even more sadly. Nbairu immediately comforted her. Staring at the crying girl, Qin Haodong narrowed his eyes. His spirit was very strong, but he sensed a familiar bloodline from the girl which was deeply rooted inside their bones. This feeling was more accurate than DNA. Is she my daughter? Qin Haodong was too excited to speak while looking at Tang Tang. How could this be? How can I have a 5-year-old daughter? Suddenly, he recalled the night before he left the earth. Back at that time, Tang Long was frustrated when trying to make his career in the capital. Upset, he went to a bar to drink wine and met Lin Momo, who was upset as well and got drunk for the first time in her life. They spent a romantic night together. That midnight, Lin Momo woke up first and left the hotel in a hurry. Tang Long tried to find her outside the hotel after he woke up but was taken away by Yi Muzhenren. Tang Long had been depressed by this thing for a long time, for his first girl was someone he did not know. He never expected that he would find his daughter by chance that day, from which he finally realized that the wounded woman on the bed was the girl he met in the bar. Since he had known that the woman was that girl, he could no longer remain calm. He turned his gaze away from his daughter and walked to Lin Momo's bed, starting feeling her pulse with his fingers. Qin Haodong, what are you doing? Ma Guoqiang shouted in horror. This woman is dying. How dare this little intern to make trouble for us? Who will take responsibility if anything bad happens? She is the daughter of the Lin family. Dr. Ma, she needs an operation right now, or she will die. Qin Haodong shouted. Ma Guoqiang was burning with anger inside. You're talking nonsense. I know she badly needs an operation, but who will do it for her? You. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong continued saying, I'll operate on her. Don't disturb me. It was a matter of life and death of his child's mother, so he wasted no words on Ma Guoqiang and pulled Lin Momo's bed into the operating room. Stop there. Ma Guoqiang immediately ran over, trying to stop them. Qin Haodong did not have time to explain further and just pushed him out the room. Bastard! Qin Haodong did not use too much strength when pushing him away, so Ma Guoqiang quickly rose to his feet, wanting to break into the room again, but, right then, he was struck by an idea and paused his steps. In his thought, the woman's situation would probably go worse. If she died of lacking a timely treatment, he would have to suffer the anger from the director and the Lin family. However, if she died in Qin Haodong's operation, he would not be the one to blame. For him, it was a good thing. Thinking of this, Ma Guoqiang gave up stopping Ma Guoqiang and shouted to him outside the room, Qin Haodong, you have to take responsibility for whatever happens. Qin Haodong ignored his words and turned back to shut the door of the room. Bvec and Bairu was confused by what was happening. She asked with amazement, who is he? Is he also a doctor of your hospital? Chapter 3. The Child's Mother. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The Child's Mother. He is named Qin Haodong. He is just an intern here, said Ma Guoqiang in embarrassment. What? A little intern dares to operate on our president. Open the door now. Tell him to stop. And Bairu shouted crazily. This kind of door is locked inside and no one can open it from outside. I am going to find the director now. After finishing the words, Ma Guoqiang ran out of the emergency department to the director's office. Tonight, Director, Wen Changjiang, was on duty, so Ma Guoqiang rushed to report it to him in order to remove responsibility completely. You. If anything wrong happens to our president, I will tear down your hospital. Seeing Ma Guoqiang's fading figure, and Bairu stamped with rage but was unable to do anything else. Mommy! Mommy! Tang Tang cried again. And Bairu had to placate her, waiting for the emergency room to be opened. In the emergency room, Qin Haodong began rescuing Lin Momo. He took out his needle bag and shook it out lightly. The needle bag extended out with hundreds of various silver needles packed in it. With a deep breath, Qin Haodong ran his greenwood genuine qi inside and transfused it into the silver needles in his hands. He pricked silver needles into Lin Momo with his hands alternately. He performed it as naturally and smoothly as floating clouds and flowing water. In a moment, a dozen of silver needles had been stabbed into Lin Momo's big acupuncture points on her chest. Lin Momo spat out blood uncontrollably, but as silver needles were being stuck in, her condition changed for better. Qin Haodong let out a sigh of relief. Lin Momo's life was saved finally, but his hands did not stop. His greenwood genuine qi turned into an invisible hand, drew out carefully her rib that had inserted into the lung, and repaired the injured tissue with his retrieving needle. After joining up the ribs, he continued to set her broken legs and poured his greenwood genuine qi into Lin Momo's body to accelerate the healing of her wound. When he had done it, the instrument beside stopped ringing and every index slowly returned to normal. Qin Haodong heaved a long sigh of relief, for he was able to rescue his child's mother from the jaws of death. After the initial first aid was accomplished, Qin Haodong raised his hands to withdraw all the silver needles in Lin Momo and took another silver needle to prick into Dantian acupoint on her belly. The cure for Lin Momo had just achieved the first step. She was not completely out of danger and her injured tissues had not been repaired thoroughly. The silver needle he used this time contained the essence of greenwood genuine qi, which could help to restore the injury continuously. After everything was done, Qin Haodong walked out of the emergency room hurriedly, because the child's mother had been fine while the child was wailing outside. And Bairu was waiting anxiously at the door of the emergency office when the door opened suddenly and the intern stepped out of it. Hardly had Qin Haodong come out when Zhang Desheng and other men surrounded him. And Bairu called out, "What did you do with the president?" "She's fine now." When speaking, Qin Haodong fixed his eyes closely on Tang Tang. At that moment, he only had his own daughter in his eyes. "Fine. And Bairu was not convinced of a word, held Tang Tang in arms and hastened into the emergency room. Qin Haodong came in behind them. Lying in the hospital bed, Lin Momo appeared calm in her presence. Except for the blood stains, she looked as if she had been sleeping. If it had not been the medical instrument besides displaying normally, and Bairu would think that Qin Haodong would have killed Lin Momo. And Bairu could not believe her own eyes. She had witnessed what Lin Momo looked like just now, only a half of her life remnant. How could Lin Momo recover herself just in a moment? The door of the emergency room was only closed for over 10 minutes. No matter how sophisticated Qin Haodong's medical skill was, he was incapable of healing such severe injury in such a short time, unless he was an immortal. Have you really healed the president? And Bairu asked unconsciously. Yes, Miss Lin is all right now, replied Qin Haodong. Great. Great. The little child understood what they had talked about and clapped with great delight. Tang Tang is so happy. Tang Tang can have mommy back. Looking at joyful Tang Tang, Qin Haodong said to Anbairu, Missan, could I cuddle her for a minute? Well. Anbairu appeared hesitant. As ruled, no stranger was permitted to approach Tang Tang, but Qin Haodong saved Lin Momo, and he did not look like a bad guy. Missan, I like children most. Please allow me to hold her for a minute. Qin Haodong said wistfully. Brother, hug me. Brother, hug me. Tang Tang could not stop crying a moment ago, but now, she reached out forwardly her puppy fat hands to Qin Haodong. And Bairu was a bit surprised. She knew that Tang Tang was fastidious and reluctant to have strangers hug her, so, it was confusing that Tang Tang seemed well disposed toward the young man. She glanced at several bodyguards standing at the door, sure that nothing would go wrong. Then, she gave Tang Tang to Qin Haodong. Daughter. Qin Haodong let out a cry inwardly and cuddled Tang Tang tightly in his arms. A feeling of flesh and blood ties welled up in his heart. For 500 years, he had been playing through life and never expected he would have a daughter. Now, he was not the all-powerful Emperor Greenwood any longer, but just a father who loved his daughter ardently. Elder brother, you look so handsome. Tang Tang stretched out her little hands and held Qin Haodong's cheeks as she said that. I am not your elder brother. I am your uncle. Qin Haodong corrected Tang Tang. His daughter called him brother. How weird the generational descent was. But my mommy said, a person with beards is uncle, and without beards is brother. You don't have beards. Shouldn't I call you brother? Heir. Qin Haodong felt awkward at her words. This flesh is good, but looks too fair and fresh with faint beards. It is not that way. You should call me uncle. That's okay. Handsome uncle. What's your name? Asked Qin Haodong. Tang Tang. The words of his daughter's name touched Qin Haodong's heart with warmth. With Lin family's power, it was not difficult to check his identity. Most valuably, Lin Momo had his daughter follow his family name. Handsome uncle, have you saved my mommy? The little child wound her arms around Qin Haodong's neck and asked. Yes. Because she is Tang Tang's mother, I must save her. Qin Haodong answered familiarly. Well, why did that person stop you from saving mommy? Because he is a fool. He could not save your mommy and thought I could not as well. Fool, a big fool. Tang Tang giggled. Handsome uncle, why can you save my mommy? Are you a miracle doctor? Yes, I am a miracle doctor. Qin Haodong nodded. In cultivation world, he was a far-famed medical saint, and no one but he could deserve the title of miracle doctor. You're so awesome, uncle. Could I call you Dr. Magic? Of course. Dr. Magic, when can mommy talk to me? When can she take me to kindergarten? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, your mommy can talk with you and send you to kindergarten. That's great. Thank you, Dr. Magic. The little kid gave a kiss on Qin Haodong's cheek as she said. My God. My heart is beating fast. Qin Haodong's face broadened into a rejoiced grin like a flower. He had never been so excited before, even when kissing an empress. The kiss of his daughter was more precious than anything else. Qin Haodong calmed himself down and said, well, let's go out and mommy can have a good rest. Okay. Okay, let's go out and play. Mommy can have a good sleep. Qin Haodong held Tang Tang in his arms and walked out of the emergency room. They started playing games at the door. In the director's office, Ma Guoqiang stood in front of the director, Wen Changjiang, breathless. Director, something terrible happened. Wen Changjiang frowned and asked, why are you so hurry? What happened? The new intern in our hospital caused a disaster. Ma Guoqiang briefed what had happened and emphasized how Qin Haodong imposed an operation on Lin Momo regardless of his dissuasion. What? The intern is performing an operation on the daughter of Lin family. Wen Changjiang had been sitting on the chair in comfort, but rose to his feet immediately when hearing that Qin Haodong did an operation on Lin Momo. Although he was the director of the hospital, he dared not to provoke the Lin family. If Lin Momo died in Jiangnan Hospital because of the intern, Wen Changjiang would be trapped in deep trouble, since he was unable to confront the fury from the Lin family. Yes, the intern is named Qin Haodong. He admired my medical skill deeply, and wanted to learn from me, but I did not agree. Who knows, this guy hung on the emergency room and refused to leave. Later, he might have been possessed by something and was so outrageous that he himself dared to operate on Miss Lin. Why didn't you stop him? Wen Changjiang thundered. Director, I did. But the guy is a barbarian indeed. He did not listen to me, and beat me. Ma Guoqiang pointed the palm print on his face and said, Director, I have been a doctor for over 10 years and never seen an unruly intern like him. It is clear that he will ruin our hospital. We should deal with him severely. Stop so much nonsense. Go to the emergency room now. With the words, Wen Changjiang rushed out of the office hurriedly. Ma Guoqiang followed, a smirk secretly appearing on the corner of his mouth. Looking at Wen Changjiang's furious expression, Ma Guoqiang knew that he had shifted responsibility to Qin Haodong successfully. A tiny intern dared to cause me trouble one after another. Let's wait and see how I persecute you miserably. Both of them stepped out of the office building. When coming to the front of the emergency hall, they ran into Lin Ziyuan, who had arrived there in a hurry. Hello, Mr. Lin. Wen Changjiang came to greet him immediately. Lin Ziyuan had his heart brimmed with worry about his daughter's safety. How could he be in the vein for socializing with Wen Changjiang? Instead, he just replied with a nod of his head and was about to enter the hall when a black car drove in fast and stopped in front of the hall. My teacher is coming. As saying the words, Ma Guoqiang ran to open the car door complacently. A middle-aged man about 50 years old got off. He was none other than Zhang Tianhe, a well-renowned medical master in Jiangnan City. Master Zhang, I am afraid I have to trouble you to attend to this matter this time. Lin Ziyuan came up and said. He contacted Zhang Tianhe the moment he heard his daughter encountered a car accident. Zhang Tianhe said conceitedly, Mr. Lin, don't worry. As long as I am here, your daughter will be fine. Lin Ziyuan nodded and said, I know the rule. Number 6 Villa in Ruhua District, Jiangnan has been prepared. Being the top medical expert in Jiangnan City, Zhang Tianhe had a rule for giving medical treatment. That was, he accepted no money but luxurious villas. Over the years, he owned a number of houses in all the high-grade residential districts in Jiangnan City. Ruhua District was the top rich residential area being developed by Lin's group, where each villa was worthy of tens of millions of yuan. Hearing what Lin Ziyuan had promised to him, Zhang Tianhe nodded in satisfaction. He looked back at Ma Guoqiang and asked, how is Miss Lin now? Chapter 4 Two Idiots. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Two Idiots. The injury is very serious, Ma Guoqiang said, taking out the text results from his pocket and sending them to Zhang Tianhe. Zhang Tianhe took the results and watched as he walked. The more he watched, the graver his face became. He didn't expect Lin Momo to be so badly hurt, and even if he took over the case, the odds of success would be 20% or less. However, just now he had boasted and accepted the house. If he admitted that he was not sure now, he would be very disgraced. Possibly, he would lose his footing in Jiangnan City in the future. Between words, they came to the door of the emergency room. Ma Guoqiang was trying to take the opportunity to complain again, but only to find the door of the emergency room was open. Qin Haodong was teasing a beautiful little girl at the door, and he looked very leisurely and relaxed. With sunken face, Wen Changjiang looked at Ma Guoqiang. Ma Guoqiang wondered how the operating room was opened. In order to prove that he did not lie, he rushed up and shouted, "Qin Haodong, you are an intern. Who gave you the right to operate on patients? My teacher could have saved Miss Lin without your meddling. Now her condition is worse, even my teacher is not sure whether he could save her." The purpose of his remarks was to frame Qin Haodong. Zhang Tianhe certainly was happy with his words, but he assumed an unhappy expression on his face. "Mr. Wen, the management of your hospital is too chaotic. How can I deal with it?" Wen Changjiang, who had been burning with anger for a long time, immediately said in a cold voice, "A mere intern can't operate on a patient without a doctor's qualification. Now you're fired." This was the result Qin Haodong had expected. At this time, he would not care about an intern's position. The important thing was that he had rescued Lin Momo and found his daughter. "I can leave, but I have cured Miss Lin. Be sure not to take off the silver needle on her before dawn." He did not look at Wen Changjiang when he spoke but gazed at Tang Tang fondly all the time. "Nonsense." Zhang Tianhe uttered a sneer. He had just seen the examination results. He did not believe that Lin Momo could be cured, let alone believe an intern's words. Of course, Lin Ziyuan didn't believe it either. He didn't understand how his granddaughter was so close to this intern, but now he had no time to pay attention to such a thing. He urgently said, "Master Zhang, don't waste time, you must hasten to treat my daughter." Hearing that these people were going to keep treating his mother, the little fellow said in a baby voice, "Grandpa, the injury of Mom has been cured by Dr. Magic. Tomorrow, she will wake up and take me to kindergarten." However, Lin Ziyuan still did not believe Tang Tang's words, thinking that it was An Bairu who compiled the words to comfort the child. He led Zhang Tianhe into the emergency room, Ma Guoqiang also following in. An Bairu wanted to explain to Lin Ziyuan, but she couldn't find a chance to speak at all. "Dr. Magic, they don't believe me." The little fellow twitched her mouth with a grievance as if she would cry at any moment. Qin Haodong hurried to reassure her, "Don't be sad, they don't believe you because they are all idiots." "Grandpa is not an idiot," the little fellow said. It seemed that she had deep affections for Lin Ziyuan. "Yes, Grandpa is not an idiot, but he has been deceived by idiots. The person that you saw just now is a big idiot, and now he has brought an old idiot here. Ha 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 ha. Big idiot, old idiot, two idiots are so funny." The little fellow immediately cheered up. "Dr. Magic, I'm hungry. Can you take me to eat something delicious?" The little fellow just came back from kindergarten and had not eaten yet, so, she was hungry. "Since you are hungry, Uncle will take you to buy delicious food." "Goody, goody, I'm going to have something tasty." Although Qin Haodong wanted to be alone with his daughter very much, he knew that it was impossible in this situation. He said to An Bairu, "Let's go together." An Bairu was certainly worried about them being alone. She followed him to the convenience store across the street with two bodyguards behind her. In the emergency room, Lin Ziyuan and others stared at Lin Momo in the hospital bed, dumbfounded. She was still in a coma, but her face was ruddy and calm. She was nothing like a seriously injured patient. Zhang Tianhe, known as a master of Jiangnan medical circle, had dabbled at both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine. He first looked at the data on the instruments beside him, and then he took Lin Momo's pulse. He thought in his heart, this is not a patient. There was no serious injury at all. Seeing Lin Momo's appearance, Lin Ziyuan was a little relieved, but he still asked, Master Zhang, how is my daughter? Zhang Tianhe said, maybe there is something wrong with the equipment in the hospital. There is no big problem with Miss Lin's health. I'll prescribe some medicine for her and she will be fine after a few days. Lin Ziyuan was relieved at last at Zhang Tianhe's words. Seeing the silver needle in Lin Momo's abdomen, Ma Guoqiang said to Zhang Tianhe, Teacher, this must be the silver needle that guy mentioned. It's ridiculous that an intern who knows nothing dares to teach the teacher how to treat disease. I really don't know who gave him the courage. Zhang Tianhe said, just small tricks meant to mystify us. Miss Lin is not injured at all. Pull it out. Lin Ziyuan, a very shrewd businessman, seemed to have realized something and said, Master Zhang, this needle is negligible. Maybe we can let it stay there. Ma Guoqiang was scared by Ma Guoqiang to nearly wet his pants just now. With hatred in heart, he was eager to embarrass Qin Haodong ruthlessly. He said, Mr. Lin, my teacher said that the intern was just playing tricks. You mustn't believe him. Lin Ziyuan couldn't say anything more. After all, this side was a famous medical master, and that side was only an unknown little intern. By contrast, he naturally chose to believe in Zhang Tianhe. Ma Guoqiang pulled out the silver needle, smiling, with secretly giggling in his heart. A mere intern should have dreamed to show off. I will never let him. However, hardly had he retrieved his hand when Lin Momo's face turned pale rapidly, and the instruments next to her gave out a sharp alarm. Ma Guoqiang was shocked. How could this happen? What did you do, bastard? Lin Ziyuan grabbed Ma Guoqiang's collar and scolded. Mr. Lin, let me go first. Ma Guoqiang looked at Zhang Tianhe in panic. Teacher, do something about it. Zhang Tianhe rushed forward to take her pulse a second time. He frowned anxiously because the pulse, which had just been very smooth, was now in a mess. She could die at any moment. What's more, he totally couldn't see where the problem was. Zhang Tianhe, what is this really about? Seeing his daughter dying, Lin Ziyuan acted like an angry lion. Zhang Tianhe couldn't say why. He turned his head to Ma Guoqiang and said, What on earth did you do, you brute? Teacher, I'm not to blame. You made me pull out the needle, Ma Guoqiang said in a panic. Zhang Tian slapped Ma Guoqiang on the face and scolded, Bastard, dare to talk back to your teacher. Just now I was just testing your medical skills. I didn't expect you to pull out the needle before I knew it. At your level, you are not qualified to be a doctor at all. Ma Guoqiang was shocked. He immediately understood that the old man did not want to take responsibility. He was playing the trick of giving up a pawn to save a chariot. Therefore, Ma Guoqiang followed suit. With little regard for the affection between a mentor and apprentice, he cried out, Old man, you just ordered me to pull it out. How can you blame me? You rebel. Seeing these two people quarreling endlessly and shirking responsibility, Lin Ziyuan even wanted to kill them. He then understood that it was that young man who had saved his daughter and now these two idiots had ruined everything. Shut up. If anything happened to my daughter today, you both have to be buried with her. Zhang Tianhe was shocked all over. He had rescued many senior officials in recent years and had close relations with some upper-class figures in Jiangnan City. However, these were nothing in the eyes of Lin's group. It was as simple as killing a chicken for Lin Ziyuan to kill him. Ma Guoqiang also realized that he had caused a catastrophe. In frantic, he said, Shall I put the needle back again? Lin Ziyuan slapped him on the face. Do you know where to insert it? Although he knew nothing about medicine, he knew that the needle was never inserted randomly. At this time, when Changjiang drew away Lin Ziyuan and advised him, "Mr. Lin, you should calm down a little. It's urgent to rescue Miss Lin." Lin Ziyuan kicked Ma Guoqiang aside and said furiously, "These two scums can do nothing. How can we save her? They can't, but somebody can. Get that intern back, he must have a way." When Changjiang had been looking on silently. As the director of the hospital, he still had some basic vision. He had seen what was going on. If they wanted to save Lin Momo again, asking Qin Haodong back was the only solution. Lin Ziyuan thought of this too. He hastily said, "Yes. Yes. I'll send for him now." Ma Guoqiang came forward and said, "I'll go and ask him back." Before Lin Ziyuan could speak, he turned and ran out. He was not foolish. He did not think that Lin Ziyuan was joking just now. If Lin Momo really died, Zhang Tianhe's relationship in Jiangnan City might save his life, but he was nothing. It would be a dead end for him. Asking Qin Haodong back was the only chance for him to stay alive. Qin Haodong took Tang Tang and Bairu to the convenience store opposite and bought some snacks. As soon as they came to the gate of Jiangnan Hospital, they saw Ma Guoqiang running up to them. "Little Qin, I was wrong. I shouldn't be snobbish like a dog and look down on you. I was as petty as a chicken, and I shouldn't be jealous of your medical skills. Please save me quickly." Ma Guoqiang fell on his knees in front of Qin Haodong, slapping himself and pleading piteously. In the face of the threat of life, he was afraid that Qin Haodong would not go to treat Lin Momo, and time was urgent, so he knelt. "What happened? We haven't seen him just for a while. Does his mind go wrong?" Qin Haodong and Bairu both looked at Ma Guoqiang, who slapped himself in surprise. The little fellow held Qin Haodong's neck nervously, looking a little frightened. "Dr. Magic, what's the big idiot doing? Is he crazy?" Chapter 5. A Failed Revenge. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 5. A Failed Revenge. Little Qin, go back to check Miss Lin's condition. Hurry, or it will be too late. Ma Guoqiang said in an urgent tone. His future and life were at stake, so, he had to hurry. "What are you saying?" asked Qin Haodong. "Miss Lin is not well, she is in danger. Go back, help her now, please." "How? What did you do?" Qin Haodong asked in a cold tone. He knew very well about Lin Momo's situation. As long as the needle was in her body, she would be fine. "Don't blame me. Zhang Tianhe asked me to pull the needle out." "Bastard." Before Ma Guoqiang could finish his words, Qin Haodong landed a mighty kick on his belly and sent him flying. Ma Guoqiang was kicked away like a ball and finally fell into a flower bed 7 or 8 meters away. The big idiot was flying. Playing football is really fun. Tang Tang clapped her hands excitedly. Knowing that Lin Momo was in danger, Qin Haodong immediately gave Tang Tang to Bairu and rushed to the emergency room, leaving his shadow behind. Oh God, how could he be so fast? Bairu was startled by Qin Haodong's speed and realized that this young man was not a normal man. She followed him with Tang Tang. Seeing that Lin Momo's wound went worse, Lin Ziyuan was anxious like a cat on hot bricks. When he saw Qin Haodong at the door, he ran to him in a hurry as if he had seen a lifesaver. "Dr. Qin, it's all my fault. Please save my daughter. No matter what you want. Don't worry, Mr. Lin. It will all be fine." Before Lin Ziyuan could say anything more, Qin Haodong had walked to Lin Momo's bed. Lin Ziyuan was slightly surprised. He had thought that Qin Haodong would demand an exorbitant price before consenting to his request. However, Qin Haodong did not ask him anything. "Get away." Qin Haodong pushed Zhang Tianhe away, who was strolling around Lin Momo's bed. He had no kindness towards the man who almost caused his child's mother to die. Well, Zhang Tianhe had always been respected as Master Zhang. Wherever he went, people would smile their welcome and show their respect. He had never been treated like this, but he dared not say anything against that. Qin Haodong did not spare him any glance. He felt Lin Momo's pulse, took out some needles, and inserted them into a dozen acupoints on Lin Momo's chest. Magically, Lin Momo's wound was relieved soon after Qin Haodong put the needles into her body. The instrument besides stopped making alarming sounds. Zhang Tianhe, Wen Changjiang, and Lin Ziyuan all opened their mouth in astonishment. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed that there was such an amazing medical skill in the world. Done. She was fine now. Qin Haodong knew that someone must want to talk, therefore, he waved his hands and said, "Let's talk outside. Miss Lin needs a good rest." They left the room together, and when they walked out, Lin Ziyuan held Qin Haodong's hands and said with gratitude and tears, "Dr. Qin, thank you. I really appreciate what you did." "You're too welcome, Mr. Lin." "That's what I should do," Qin Haodong answered. Lin Ziyuan did not know the deeper meaning of Qin Haodong's words, so, he spoke again, "Momo is my only daughter. Saving her means saving my whole family." Qin Haodong replied, "Though Miss Lin's condition is stabilized now, in case of any contingency, please allow me to stay here to look after her tonight. Are you okay with that? It'll be so good if you'd like to do so." "Thank you so much." Concerned with his daughter's safety, Lin Ziyuan had been worrying about how to ask Qin Haodong for help. He had not expected that Qin Haodong would offer to do so. "Dr. Qin, these are the keys of the number 6 villa of the Ruhua district. From this moment on, this villa is yours." While speaking, Lin Ziyuan handed a bunch of keys to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong received them without hesitation and put them into his pocket. Emperor Greenwood was a distinguished person. In the cultivation world, someone had even given him a whole city in order to seek his treatment, therefore, a house was not a big thing in his eyes. Zhang Tianhe regained his sense from the astonishment of Qin Haodong's magic skill. He put on an ingratiating smile and walked to Qin Haodong while saying, "Mr. Qin, I'd like to be your student if you would teach me your medical skills." From what he had seen, he could tell that Qin Haodong's skills were much more excellent than his. If he could master those skills, he would be able to get whatever he wanted not only in Jiangnan City but also in the entire Jiangnan province. He had always sought nothing but profits. As long as he could get enough profits, he would bend to anybody. For this reason, he had put forward the idea of taking Qin Haodong as his teacher. As he saw it, he was a famous person in the city, and he was cheapening himself by doing so, therefore, Qin Haodong would accept his suggestion happily. However, to his surprise, Qin Haodong did not even look at him and just tossed his head to another side. "Dr. Magic, hug me." Tang Tang struggled in Bairu's arms, wanting Qin Haodong to hug her, when they walked over. Seeing his daughter, Qin Haodong immediately wore a gentle expression and held her in his arms. Zhang Tianhe's expression changed. He suppressed his anger and said, "Mr. Qin, if you can teach me your skills, many people will be saved from this. With my status, it won't be a disgrace to your skills. It should be that you will earn many houses if I teach you my skills." Lin Ziyuan said coldly. This greedy and incapable Master Zhang disappointed and disgusted him much. Qin Haodong chimed in with a cold smile. "I possess these skills, but, I don't want to teach you." "What can you do about it?" Zhang Tianhe shouted excitedly. "How could be like this? You're dishonoring your skills. It's not right." "What do you think is right?" Qin Haodong asked with a meaningful expression. "Since I've cheapened myself by asking you to be my teacher, you should teach everything that you've mastered and let me carry it forward to save more people." Hearing Zhang Tianhe's chatters, Qin Haodong could finally know what the man who preached against stealing but had a goose in his sleeve looked like. He shouted to him, "Go away." After the shout, he aimed a kick on Zhang Tianhe, who rolled out along the corridor like a ball. Nice. Nice. The old idiot was flying again. Dr. Magic looks so cool. Tang Tang got excited again. She kept clapping her hands while saying in a mumbling tone, "Playing football is fun. I want to watch more." Qin Haodong was a little depressed, for he saw a violent side of her daughter. However, he also thought that he should satisfy her as she had asked so. Ma Guoqiang ran to them with dusty and dirty in his appearance and grass leaves on his head, but, before he could say something, he was kicked out by a big foot and sent flying. Just as Zhang Tianhe rose to his feet, he was knocked down again by the flying Ma Guoqiang. The two rolled on the ground like calabashes. Bravo! Bravo! The big idiot was flying again. That's so funny. Tang Tang giggled. Right then, when Changjiang came to Qin Haodong and said, "Little Qin, would you like to work in our hospital? As long as you say yes, you will be our regular doctor immediately." Lin Ziyuan chimed in, "Mr. Wen, Dr. Qin's skills are so excellent, isn't it a waste to let him be a normal doctor here?" Yes. Yes. I'm so stupid that I didn't make myself clear. Before Wen Changjiang could finish his words, Ma Guoqiang went back rolling and crawling. Zhang Tianhe was not a doctor of Jiangnan Hospital, but Ma Guoqiang was. Therefore, he could not go away just like the crestfallen Zhang Tianhe did. He had to make a living in this hospital. Director. Before Ma Guoqiang could finish his words, Wen Changjiang said to him in a deadpan, "Don't call me director. From this moment on, you're not the doctor of this hospital anymore. You're fired. Director, please don't do so. I beg you to give me a chance." Ma Guoqiang begged Wen Changjiang, but the latter did not look at him at all and just turned to Qin Haodong with a full smile while saying, "Little Qin, as long as you'd like to work here, you can replace Ma Guoqiang to be a chief doctor." Ma Guoqiang looked gloomy. He did not expect that he would lose his position to Qin Haodong so quickly, which he had gained through hardship over the past years. If he had foreseen this, he would not have gone to the director and complained to him. Now, he went for wool and came home shorn. However, the previous position as a chief doctor in Ma Guoqiang's eyes was nothing in Qin Haodong's eyes. Qin Haodong wanted to carry traditional Chinese medicine forward, so, he had no intention to work as a doctor in that hospital. "Thank you, Mr. Wen, but I've not graduated yet, so I don't plan to work now." Ah! When Changjiang did not expect the answer and said again in a hurry, "Little Qin, please think again. As for your diploma, I can treat it as a special case. No, I really don't want to work now." Qin Haodong refused again without hesitation. When Changjiang shook his head with pity. He had realized the value of Qin Haodong's medical skills. If he could have Qin Haodong as a doctor in his hospital, the future of Jiangnan Hospital must be promising. However, Qin Haodong did not accept his olive branch. "Get lost now. Don't stay here and bring shame to yourself." When Changjiang turned around and took his anger out on Ma Guoqiang, he threw him out of the hospital and arranged someone to bring Lin Momo to a VIP room before leaving. It was 10 at night. Tang Tang yawned continuously. Obviously, she was sleepy. Lin Ziyuan said, "Dr. Qin, I'm going to take Tang Tang home for a rest. Please take care of Momo, thank you." Qin Haodong answered, "It's okay, rest assured. I'll take care of Miss Lin. I don't want to go home, I want to play with Dr. Magic." Tang Tang said, arms around Qin Haodong's neck. "Tang Tang, go home to have a sleep first, or you'll be too tired to play with me tomorrow." Qin Haodong tried to convince her. "Okay, I'll go home. Dr. Magic, don't forget to play with me tomorrow." "Yes, I'll go to see you tomorrow. Let's make a pinky promise." Tang Tang reached out her pinky. "Sure, it's a pinky promise." Qin Haodong reached out his little finger and hooked it with hers. "Dr. Magic, see you tomorrow." Tang Tang kissed Qin Haodong on the cheek before going back to her grandpa's hug reluctantly. Lin Ziyuan left with Tang Tang and left and Bairu and 2 bodyguards there. Chapter 6. This is a murder. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. This is a murder. The VIP room was well equipped. Qin Haodong fetched a pot of hot water to clean off the blood stain on Lin Momo's body with a towel. Mr. Qin, let me help it, said Bairu. No, you don't know where her injuries are. You would easily touch them. After refusing Bairu's help, Qin Haodong started cleaning Lin Momo. Bairu did not say anything more but stared at the young man in front of her. His moves were so gentle and his expressions were serious as if he was wiping a precious treasure. Bairu wondered why a young man barely in his 20s had a strong sense of maturation and vicissitudes in his eyes. For what reason he looked so? Soon, Qin Haodong wiped off all the blood stain from Lin Momo's face, revealing a stunning face in front of him. Although he had seen many saints and princesses of the powerful forces and the few women in the cultivation world were all the beautiful females that could be rarely seen in the human world, he was still amazed by Lin Momo's beauty. Looking at her face, her body, her figure. No wonder she would be my girl. She is so pretty, so damn pretty. At the first sight of Tang Tang, Qin Haodong had regarded Lin Momo as his woman. Why I didn't see Tang Tang's father? Qin Haodong asked. He wanted to find out whether Lin Momo was married or not in an indirect way. Tang Tang has no father. Bairu sighed and continued, Boss never told us who Tang Tang's father was and that man didn't show up even once. Momo might have a reason to do so, but that cold-blooded man has never come to see his own daughter for so many years. If I know who he is one day, I'll whack his ball. Bairu said angrily. She was not only Lin Momo's assistant but also her good friend, so she had been defending her against that man all the time. Coo. 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 Qin Haodong coughed, almost choked by his own saliva. Dr. Qin, are you okay? Bairu asked, looking at him with amazement. I'm fine. I'm fine. Qin Haodong clamped his legs subconsciously and changed the topic. Miss Lin is such an outstanding girl. There must be many people wooing her. Didn't she consider to get married again? No. She might be deeply hurt by that cold-blooded man. Ever since she has Tang Tang, her character has changed so much and she has become aloof to everyone. She didn't even have any boyfriend, let alone get married. Qin Haodong felt relieved after hearing the answer, and a sense of pity for her rose in his heart. He continued to ask, what has happened today? How did she get injured? He questioned his doubt. In view of Lin Momo's status and the bodyguards with her, she shouldn't have suffered such a serious accident. Bairu answered, Boss and I was on the way to Tang Tang's kindergarten to take her home, however, when we were crossing a road, a black car without any license tag suddenly ran over to us and bumped into Momo. Qin Haodong frowned and asked, did you find out the driver? No, that car didn't even stop after hitting us and just sped up to escape away. I felt that it was not just a normal accident, so I told Zhang Debiao and some other bodyguards to take Momo to hospital and I went to pick up Tang Tang, afraid that another accident would happen to her. I called the police just now, only to be informed that they had found the car at the bottom of a cliff and the driver had been crashed into pieces. Qin Haodong said in cold tone, this is not a car accident, this is a murder. Bairu replied, it's normal. After Momo took over the president's place, the business of Lin's group has expanded twice. It affected others' interests, so, naturally, there are some people wanting her to die. What's more, our group is not peaceful internally. Many people are coveting the president's position. Whoever dares to hurt my girl will be thrown into the bottom of the hell. Qin Haodong snorted in secret. A cold atmosphere immediately filled the room. What's happening? Is the temperature on air conditioner too low? Anbairu closed her collar more tightly and went to crank the heat up by 2 degrees Celsius. In the morning the next day, Chin Haodong pulled the needles in Lin Momo's abdomen out. After a night of nourishment of greenwood genuine qi, most of her wounds were healed, which was a miracle in the history of modern medicine. However, Chin Haodong still shook his head at it. My cultivation is too low now, which restricted my medical skills. If I still possess the cultivation that I had in the cultivation world, I can cure her in seconds. After Chin Haodong pulled the needle out of her, Lin Momo soon opened her eyes and sat up. Though she was badly injured last night, she still had her sense, so, she knew everything that had happened later and that the man in front of him saved her from the gate of hell. She said to Chin Haodong, "Thank you, Dr. Chin." Chin Haodong observed Lin Momo, who gave him an aloof feeling from head to foot. He could not feel any warmth from her words and could hardly attach her to the enthusiastic girl he met that night. "You're too welcome, Miss Lin." "That's what I should do," Chin Haodong replied. Seeing that the intern closely stared at her, Lin Momo frowned slightly. She did not like being stared at. "Sister An, write Dr. Chin a check of 1 million RMB as a token of my appreciation." Chin Haodong said, "No, you don't need to do so, as Mr. Lin has paid me with a house. That's my father's gift, and I have mine for you. After all, nothing can worth more than my life." Lin Momo was really feared after the car accident. If she really died in the accident, Tang Tang would be left alone without mother. Thinking of this, Lin Momo was frightened. Anbairu, standing beside Lin Momo, was astonished. Last night when Chin Haodong told Tang Tang that Lin Momo would recover the next morning, she thought it was a lie to comfort the child and did not expect it to be real. This young man's skills are extraordinary. He cured a dying girl in just one night. She was lost in amazement until she heard Lin Momo's words. After taking out a check-book from her bag, she wrote a check of 1 million RMB and handed it to Chin Haodong. "Miss Lin, I've told you that I can't accept this." Chin Haodong did not take the check. Lin Momo asked, "Well, Dr. Chin, is it too few for you? Tell me a number and I'm sure I can satisfy you." "It's not about money," Chin Haodong said. "Miss Lin, if you really want to thank me, comply with my request." Lin Momo wondered what request could be more precious than 1 million RMB, and when she thought of how Chin Haodong stared at her, she seemingly guessed what he wanted. She immediately replied, "Dr. Chin, if you think that you can have designs on me because you saved me, you're wrong. Give up your impractical plans." She should not be to blame for her misunderstandings about him, as the men wooing her all those years were like the flies that she could not drive away. She had had it enough, and that was why she always looked unapproachable. "What?" Chin Haodong was slightly surprised but immediately understood what she meant. He quickly said, "Miss Lin, you misunderstood me. It's not what you thought. It's just that I found Tang Tang congenial to me, so, I want to be her sworn father. I just have this only request." Although he also wanted to win Lin Momo's favor, he knew he should be patient. What was more urgent was to let Tang Tang call him father, as he was upset to be called uncle by his own daughter. Sworn father was also a kind of father, and this was the best idea he could think at that moment. It was better to be called uncle. "Seriously? You want to be Tang Tang's sworn father?" Lin Momo was slightly surprised, and her face was flushed after she realized she was wrong to think that Chin Haodong wanted to woo her. "Yes, I really like Tang Tang." Chin Haodong continued, "If you allow me to be her sworn father, I can promise you that she won't fall ill for the rest of her life." This. Lin Momo hesitated. It had always been a painful thing that Tang Tang did not have father. That hateful man disappeared after that night and no news of him could be heard. Tang Tang had cried looking for her father many times and asked Lin Momo why she did not have father, to which Lin Momo did not know how to answer. Having a sworn father is better than having no father. This may comfort Tang Tang a little. Lin Momo had the similar thought like Chin Haodong. What touched her most was that Qin Haodong promised her Tang Tang would not fall ill for the rest of her life. Every parent hoped that their children could be healthy. After the accident, Lin Momo knew more about how precious one's life was. Okay, if Tang Tang won't disagree, it's fine for me. Great, thanks, Miss Lin. Qin Haodong suppressed his excitement for fear of arousing Lin Momo's suspicion. As for Tang Tang, he was sure that she would be happy to accept him as her sworn father. Right then, Anbairu chimed in, Dr. Qin, can you tell me the further treatments on President? Well, she needs no more treatment. She can leave the hospital right now. Really? Are you saying that President recovered? Anbairu asked in astonishment. It was already beyond her expectation that Lin Momo could recover to what she looked now. It would be little short of a miracle if she recovered totally. Well, Qin Haodong regained his manner from excitement and answered at once, I mean that she doesn't need any treatment in hospital. She looks fine in appearance, but her internal organs need nourishment still. She can receive her treatment at home, and she will be fine after I do her some acupuncture and massage every day. In fact, Lin Momo was recovered totally and needed no more treatment. The reason why Qin Haodong said those words was that he wanted to create some chances for himself to stay with Lin Momo. He wanted to win Lin Momo's heart as soon as possible and would not miss any chance to do so. Dr. Qin, how long will the acupuncture and massage treatment take? Lin Momo asked. A first estimate would be a half-month, and it will also depend on how she recovers in the following time. Qin Haodong did not give her a certain answer and left himself with some leeway, for he knew that a girl like Lin Momo would not give him any chance to enter her house if she no longer needed his treatment. Chapter 7. The little girl fell ill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The little girl fell ill. Lin Momo got out of bed and stretched out her stiff limbs. She felt her body had recovered to the same level as before the injury. Qin Haodong was right. She could actually leave the hospital, so she asked Anbairu to sign the discharge papers. As they got to the gate of the hospital, they saw several limos parked in front of the gate. At the sight of Lin Momo, Zhang Debiao came up to her with a dozen bodyguards. After the incident yesterday, Lin Ziyuan sent bodyguards to strengthen protections for her daughter. To Qin Haodong's disappointment, he saw only the bodyguards and no sign of the little girl. Luckily, he just laid the groundwork. In the name of going to Lin Momo's house for treatment, he got into the car with Lin Momo, otherwise he could not see his daughter today. At the gate of the Lin's villa, Anbairu went back to work, and Qin Haodong followed Lin Momo into the house. As soon as they entered, they saw a mess. Lin Ziyuan was holding Tang Tang in his arms and rushing to the door in panic. Behind him was a lady doctor in a white coat and a big mask. The little kid in Lin Ziyuan's arms looked listless and green, devoid the vitality of the day before. Dad, what's going on? Lin Momo hurried to them and asked. Have you really recovered, Momo? Lin Ziyuan was startled to see his daughter. Then he explained the situation to her. Tang Tang is sick with a high fever. I'm going to take her to the hospital. What happened? Tang Tang is always in good health. Why did she suddenly fall ill? Lin Momo inquired in an anxious manner. She came back from the hospital last night with a fever. Maybe she caught a cold there. Dr. Gao gave her some medicine but it didn't work. That's why I'm going to take her to the hospital, replied Lin Ziyuan worriedly. Dr. Gao was their family Dr. Gao Yen, who was behind him. Big families like the Lin family had family doctors so that they didn't have to go to the hospital for common ailments. Gao Yen stepped forward and further explained, Miss Lin, I've given Tang Tang the best antipyretics and the most advanced antibiotics, but nothing worked. Now Tang Tang has a high fever of 39.5 degrees centigrade. I suspect she is infected with a new virus, which is untreatable in our family's medical conditions. Therefore, we have to send Tang Tang to the hospital for a blood test and make a diagnosis as soon as possible. What? You gave Tang Tang antibiotics. Don't you know that antibiotics are harmful to children? Hearing her words, Qin Haodong lost his temper. The little girl was his lifeblood, and he would not allow her to be harmed in any way. Are you questioning my medical skills? I treated Tang Tang in advance according to the most advanced treatment in M country, retorted Gao Yan before she noticed Qin Haodong behind Lin Momo. Who are you? Do you know anything about medicine? Why question me? She snarled. Lin Momo quickly introduced Qin Haodong. Dr. Gao, this is Qin Haodong, Dr. Qin. Gao Yan was always arrogant and cold. Noticing that Qin Haodong was only about 20 years old, she gave him the cold shoulder. Miss Lin, you know my medical skills. It's not just any doctor can question, she stressed scornfully. At that moment, the droopy little girl heard Qin Haodong's voice and tried to open her eyes. Dr. Magic, help. I feel so sick. I may die, she cried weakly. As Lin Momo was the current president of the Lin's group, her injury was highly confidential, and Gao Yan did not know about it. When the little girl called Qin Haodong Dr. Magic, her expression grew even more disdainful. Beove, Dr. Magic, how ridiculous. You can only fool kids. She didn't speak very loudly, but everyone in the room heard her. Lin Ziyuan's and Lin Momo's face flickered, afraid that Qin Haodong would be irritated by her. Qin Haodong ignored the smug woman and took the little girl from Lin Ziyuan's arms. Mr. Lin, give Tang Tang to me. Even in the hospital, she could not be cured. He had seen that the little girl was not infected with any new virus at all. Actually, it was the evil spirit that Tang Tang caught in the hospital last night that caused her fever. After all, kids were vulnerable to the evil spirit. Her health would be greatly affected if the evil spirit in her body were not removed soon. Please, Dr. Qin, said Lin Ziyuan politely. He was now in complete admiration of Qin Haodong's medical skills. No, Mr. Lin, Tang Tang is in a very dangerous situation. There is no time to lose. She must be taken to the hospital at once, Gao Yan cried out, trying to stop them. Dr. Gao, Dr. Qin is highly skilled in healing. He is sure to cure Tang Tang. Lin Ziyuan explained. By this time, Qin Haodong had put Tang Tang on the couch in the living room, and then took out the needle bag from his clothes. His cultivation hadn't recovered much yet. If he were in the Foundation realm, he could have cleaned the evil spirit from the girl's body with a simple incantation, but now he had to resort to acupuncture to achieve this effect. What? Are you a traditional Chinese doctor? As soon as Qin Haodong reached for his needle bag, Gao Yan immediately stood between him and Tang Tang, and persuaded Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo, Mr. Lin, Miss Lin, traditional Chinese medicine is a trick. You mustn't believe it. If you allow him to do this, Tang Tang will get worse. Qin Haodong's face instantly darkened. This woman hadn't given up trying to stop him yet. You are not qualified to question Chinese medicine. Get out of my way. He rebuked her coldly. Lin Momo came up to them and said, Dr. Gao, you can rest assured that Dr. Qin's medical skills are really good. Miss Lin, please respect science and don't be blinded by your feelings. Tang Tang is so young, she can't be hurt because of your personal feelings. In her opinion, Qin Haodong was Lin Momo's new boy toy, and that Lin Momo believed this man was quite out of personal considerations, rather than Qin Haodong's medical skills. How could Lin Momo, a company's overbearing president whose words carried weight, bear to be accused by a small family doctor? Her face fell. Dr. Gao, I have the right to choose who is going to cure Tang Tang. Please step aside, she snapped. No, I'm a family doctor, and it's my job to be responsible for my patients. I won't let him touch Tang Tang as long as I'm around unless you fire me. Gao Yan had been working as a family doctor in the Lin family for more than 3 years and was respected by Lin Momo and Lin Ziyuan, which contributed to her pride. She took it for granted that Lin Momo would choose her between Qin Haodong and her. After all, she was a doctor of medicine who returned from studying in M country. Both her education and medical skills were very convincing. "Well, you're fired now," said Lin Momo, a little crossly. What? Gao Yan then realized what a foolish thing she had done. She turned quickly to Lin Ziyuan, hoping to get a turn from him. "Dr. Gao, you've been working for this family for several years. I'll give you another chance. Get out of the way or leave," said Lin Ziyuan, in a warning voice. Gao Yan was a doctor of medicine returning from studying in M country, but a generous boss like the Lin family was hard to find. Between job and pride, she finally chose the former. Her arrogance suddenly subsided and she quietly stepped aside. Then Qin Haodong came to the kid. Looking at the silver needles in his hand, Tang Tang asked with fear, "Dr. Magic, are you going to give me needles?" "Yeah, with just a few needles, Tang Tang will be fine." "Dr. Magic, does it hurt?" "You call Uncle Dr. Magic, of course, it doesn't hurt. Only Quack's needles hurt." "Well, I'll close my eyes and it won't hurt if I don't look." Tang Tang cleverly closed her eyes and asked again, "Dr. Magic, how long does it take to get the needles?" "Very soon, why not sing a song for Uncle? When you finish, the needle is done." Qin Haodong then moved quickly, thrusting the dozen silver needles into Tang Tang's acupuncture points from head to foot. His technique of acupuncture had reached the acme of perfection. Fed on by his green with genuine qi, the little girl felt no pain at all and began to sing with her eyes closed. "Little bunny darling, open the door." Tang Tang did not have too much evil spirit in her body, so it was easy to be expelled. It only took 2 or 3 minutes for Qin Haodong to remove it out. When he pulled out these silver needles, the little girl had not finished her nursery rhyme. "It's over, Tang Tang. You can stop now," Qin Haodong said as he pinched the little girl's chubby cheeks. "Really? I didn't feel any pain." Tang Tang jumped on the couch with excitement. Her face, which had been green only a few minutes before, had returned to its usual pink, and she had come back to live as if she had been charged with electricity. Lin Ziyuan walked over to the couch, felt her forehead, and exclaimed with delight, "The fever has remitted. Tang Tang is really not feverish now." Although he knew that Qin Haodong's medical skills were amazing, he was not expecting that he could cure Tang Tang so quickly. After all, the little girl was terribly hot in his arms. "Dr. Magic, you are so great. You cured Tang Tang so soon," the little girl shouted, jumping on the couch cheerfully. "Of course, you said Uncle is a magic doctor," Qin Haodong said with a laugh. "Dr. Magic, if I ever get sick again, I'll let you treat me. Aunt Gao will be never allowed to treat me again. She gave me several injections. It was very painful, but I was still very sick." Gao Yan looked at them, dumbfounded. As she heard Tang Tang's words, she came to her mind and barked, "This is impossible. It must be the medicine I just gave Tang Tang has worked. Traditional Chinese medicine is a fraud, it cannot be so effective." Qin Haodong turned around, cast a cool glance at Gao Yan, and demanded, "Have you studied traditional Chinese medicine?" "I was a PhD student in M country. How could I learn such a fraud?" Gao Yan yelled with a look of disdain. "Do you know traditional Chinese medical science? Why should I know that kind of thing?" Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward, glared at Gao Yan, and argued, "What the hell is wrong with you? You have neither learned traditional Chinese medicine nor know it. In short, you do not even know what it is. Then how could you claim that traditional Chinese medicine is a fraud all the time?" My professor told me. He said traditional Chinese medicine is not scientific at all, it is a superstitious thing left over from the feudal society. It cannot cure diseases at all. Traditional Chinese medicine can't cure disease. Then how was Tang Tang cured? Qin Haodong grimaced. A cloud of anger rose within him. There were some people, who knew very little of Chinese medicine, liking to denigrate it rightfully without basis. As I told you, Tang Tang must have been cured by me. It has nothing to do with you. Only Western medicine is the right way, Western medicine therapies are the most scientific. Qin Haodong sneered, since Western medicine is so scientific and effective, why doesn't it cure what in your mouth? Chapter 8. You have smelly breath. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. You have smelly breath, you. What? What are you talking about? Gao Yen took 2 involuntary steps back. I said it's smelly. You know what I mean. Neither Lin Ziyuan nor Lin Momo understood what Qin Haodong meant. They mistakenly thought Qin Haodong was mad at Gao Yen for being rude and insulting traditional Chinese medicine. However, the little girl hopped and cried, I know. I know. Aunt Gao's breath really sticks. Once she did not wear a mask, her breath smelled like fart and made me lose my appetite. Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo then realized that Qin Haodong meant that Gao Yen had halitosis, not her offensive words. They had thought Gao Yen had been wearing a big mask because of her doctor's obsession with cleanliness, but now they knew that she was covering up her bad breath. Although there was no offense at Tang Tang's words, Gao Yen was so ashamed that she wished she had disappeared. She didn't have bad breath as a child but somehow developed it in high school. In order to cure this unspeakable disease, she chose a medical school in her college entrance examination and later took the Doctor of Medicine of M country. Over the years, she had seen numerous well-known doctors, but halitosis was still not cured and even got more and more serious. For this reason, this pretty woman, in her early 30s, had yet to have a boyfriend. No man could stand her smelly breath. Don't you believe in Western medicine? Why can't you cure yourself? Qin Haodong addressed this question again. Gao Yen gave him a bitter look and replied, so what? Western medicine is scientific, but there are also difficult and complicated diseases that it cannot cure at present. You can't deny the role of Western medicine just because of this. Difficult and complicated disease. Qin Haodong snorted with laughter. Your halitosis is obviously caused by heavy stomach fire and gastrointestinal heat. In traditional Chinese medicine, this is a problem that can't be smaller and can be easily cured. Not only do you not believe in traditional Chinese medicine, but also you denigrate it. You have brought this on yourself. That's impossible. You're lying. I've had a standard examination of my stomach and intestines. There's nothing wrong. How could this be due to my stomach and intestine? Argued Gao Yen. That's why I said you didn't know anything about traditional Chinese medicine. In traditional Chinese medicine, the stomach and intestines is a system of passages, not organs as in Western medicine. It is precisely because of the limitations of Western medicine, it cannot find the root of your disease and ridiculously labels it a difficult problem. It will only take me a few minutes to get over an ailment like yours. What? What? You can cure my disease? Gao Yen asked in disbelief. Yes. Of course. Dr. Magic is amazing. He can cure any disease. The little girl yelled, clapping her hands. She was now the biggest fan of Qin Haodong. In her eyes, her Dr. Magic was omnipotent. Gao Yen hesitated for a moment, then made a low bow to Qin Haodong, and pleaded earnestly, please, Dr. Qin, give me a hand. As long as you can cure my disease, I'll give you whatever you ask for. Qin Haodong knew she had halitosis and the cause with only one glance. Gao Yen had some faith in his medical skills now. What was more, she was almost driven mad by the disease and would try at the slightest hope. Dr. Magic, Aunt Gao is so pitiful. Please give her some needles. If she hurts, I can sing a song for her. Qin Haodong lovingly stroked the little girl's head, turned to Gao Yen and said, for Tang Tang's sake, I'll give you a little therapy. Then he directed Gao Yen to lie down on the couch before he did acupuncture for her. For Emperor Greenwood, to heal the gastrointestinal blockage was a piece of cake. 5 minutes later, he put away his needles. It's over. Try and see if you still have bad breath. So soon. Gao Yen hesitantly took off her mask. Then she put her hands together, breathed into them, and sniffed. She used to frown at her bad breath when she did this, but this time she did not smell anything. Is it true that the disease that has bothered me for more than 10 years was cured in the last few minutes? She wondered in shock. With an unbelieving expression, Gao Yen breathed again into her palms. Still, there was not any of the original bad breath. The little girl ran to Gao Yen and offered with a silly look, "Aunt Gao, let me smell it." With that, she lifted her face close to Gao Yan's mouth, her lovely little nose sniffing, and then clapped her little hands and shouted, "No bad smell, no bad smell." Aunt Gao's mouth no longer fart. Gao Yen wept with emotion. Having suffered from halitosis for so many years, only she knew the bitterness and humiliation. "Thank you, Dr. Qin. Thank you very much indeed." Gao Yen fell to her knees in front of Qin Haodong with a flop. "I was wrong. I was short-sighted. I apologize to you, to Chinese medicine. I'm sorry." "Get up," Qin Haodong said. "I have cured you of your disease, but as you just have blind faith in foreign things and disparage traditional Chinese medicine, I will punish you for 3 days for not being able to speak." He was infuriated at the woman for her unprovoked denigration of traditional Chinese medicine, so he adopted a small means to punish her during the therapy just now. Gao Yen got up from the ground, opened her mouth, attempting to say something, but to her horror, she lost her voice all of a sudden. Only then did she realize that the magic of traditional Chinese medicine was far beyond the imagination of people like her who studied Western medicine. Still, she, unable to speak for the next 3 days though, looked at Qin Haodong with gratitude and admiration. As long as her bad breath was gone, she was willing to keep her mouth shut for 3 months or even 3 years, let alone 3 days. When the little girl saw that Gao Yen was suddenly unable to speak, she quickly covered her mouth with her 2 small hands and said to Qin Haodong, "Dr. Magic, I'm a good girl. Please don't make me unable to speak." The remark, full of childlike innocence, created a burst of laughter, which made the awkward atmosphere cheerful. Lin Momo looked at Qin Haodong, her eyes alight with admiration. It seems very wise to agree with Qin Haodong to be Tang Tang's sworn father, she thought with relief. Otherwise Tang Tang may not be able to be treated even in the hospital today. Lin Ziyuan was old enough to know better the importance of a skilled doctor to a family. With Qin Haodong, the Lin family had an extra lifeline. Thus, his enthusiasm for Qin Haodong was tinged with respect. "Dr. Qin, thank you for helping Tang Tang recover. Your medical skill is such an eye-opener to me." Now, none of the Lins dared to question Qin Haodong's medical skills. They had just made such a noise that their cook and nanny came into the living room to see what was going on. As this matter had been over, the cook Zhang Dafu came to them and asked, "Mr. Lin, breakfast is ready, when do you eat?" Lin Ziyuan was not in the mood to eat a few minutes ago because of Tang Tang's illness. Now Tang Tang's recovery made his mood lightened, so he decided to have breakfast immediately. "Thank you very much, Dr. Qin. Please come and have breakfast with us." He then politely invited Qin Haodong into the dining room and offered him his seat of honor. "I want to sit next to Dr. Magic." The little girl cried as she climbed into a chair next to Qin Haodong's seat and holding his hand lovingly. "Mama, sit here," she said to Lin Momo, patting the chair beside her with her little hands. To take care of her daughter conveniently, Lin Momo took the seat. As she took a glance at Qin Haodong unwittingly, a strange feeling came over her. It was like a family of 3 sitting together for breakfast. The Lin family had a big breakfast, both Chinese and Western food. "Tang Tang, what do you want?" Lin Momo asked her daughter gently. "Mama will help you to get the food." Having a look at the food on the table, Tang Tang wrinkled her nose and replied, I don't want to eat, Mama. No, it's not good for your health. If you are not in good health, you will be vulnerable to illness, said Lin Momo, filling a bowl of porridge with preserved eggs and minced meat. Tang Tang, have some porridge. Porridge for breakfast is good for your stomach. Looking at the porridge in the bowl, the little girl waved her hand to refuse. No. No. Mama, I don't want to eat anything. No, you can't skip breakfast. You must have some, or Mama will be angry. Lin Momo threatened her, putting on an angry face. Miss Lin, Tang Tang just had a fever, and it's normal for her to have no appetite, Qin Haodong explained. Well, let me cook Tang Tang some porridge. She will love it. Lin Ziyuan quickly said, Dr. Qin, how can we let you do such a thing? You are an honored guest. Never mind, Tang Tang just recovered from illness. It's okay for me to make something delicious for her. Qin Haodong looked at the little girl kindly. Hearing the conversation, Zhang Dafu, who had been serving at the table, came forward and said, Dr. Qin, how about you explain the cooking to me and I'll do it? No, I'll do it. You can't do that, said Qin Haodong, getting up from his seat. Great, great, I want to eat the delicious food Dr. Magic cooks. The little girl clapped her hands happily again. Zhang Dafu was a little upset. In his opinion, it was belittling his cooking. Dr. Qin, your medical skill is really masterly, but speaking of cooking, your cooking is not as good as mine. He was in a position to be proud. His grandfather was the imperial chef of the former dynasty, and his father had made a state banquet for the senior officials of China. He himself was a top chef well known in Jiangnan City, and the Lin family spent a lot of money to invite him to be their cook. Not caring what he said, Qin Haodong laughed and said, maybe Tang Tang likes my cooking. Yeah. Yeah. I want to eat the delicious food Dr. Magic cooks. The little girl immediately came out in support of Qin Haodong. All right, thank you, Dr. Qin, Lin Ziyuan agreed before he turned to Zhang Dafu and said, take Dr. Qin to the kitchen. In his opinion, now that Qin Haodong was in the mood to cook, just let him do as he pleased. Maybe he would waste some ingredients, but the Lin family was wealthy enough that they didn't mind that. Well, this way please, Dr. Qin. Now that the host had agreed, Zhang Dafu could only listen. Still, he thought Qin Haodong was teaching fish to swim. Dr. Magic, let me help you. The little girl exclaimed as she climbed down from the chair and grasped one of Qin Haodong's fingers. Then they entered the kitchen together. Chapter 9. Crying over the delicious porridge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Crying over the delicious porridge. Dr. Qin, what are you going to cook? Asked Zhang Dafu enthusiastically as they got to the kitchen. Tang Tang has just recovered from her illness. She'd better have a light meal. I'll just make her some porridge, Qin Haodong replied. Are there any ingredients for making 8. Treasure rice porridge? Yes, but it's raw that hasn't been soaked. It is not suitable to cook porridge immediately. Zhang Dafu silently despised Qin Haodong. It is pretty common knowledge that to cook 8. Treasure rice porridge, the ingredients have to be soaked no less than 4 hours in advance. He wants to cook 8. Treasure rice porridge directly. Apparently, he is a complete layman. Never mind, just give me the ingredients. Qin Haodong insisted. Zhang Dafu couldn't say no. So he took a small bowl of the ingredients and brought them to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong took a look at the bowl and said, that's too little. I'm sure Tang Tang is not the only one who will eat later. Take some more. Zhang Dafu was kind of speechless. Since he became the cook of this family, the Lins had become very dainty and fussy about their food. Ordinary food could not arouse their appetite at all. How could they want to eat ordinary 8. Treasure rice porridge? But he would just listen to Qin Haodong. It was not him who was going to lose face, after all. With this idea in mind, he scooped up a large bowl of ingredients. After washing the ingredients, Qin Haodong began to cook the porridge. Of course, he knew that the ingredients usually needed to be soaked for several hours before cooking porridge, but he, the Emperor Greenwood, didn't need to do that. He was born with a constitution of wood of the 5 elements, and his cultivation belonged to the highest wood element, so he could manipulate plants with ease. The grains in his hands released all their value. 10 minutes later, a strong ambrosial aroma of food filled the kitchen. Wow, it smells good. Dr. Magic, your porridge smells delicious. When can I have it? The little girl stood by, staring at the boiling porridge in the pot and could not help but swallowed. Then she put a small white finger into her mouth, like a little foodie. Tang tang, that's unsanitary. Qin Haodong said, taking the little girl's finger out of her mouth. But Dr. Magic, I really want to have some porridge now. Wait a minute. It's okay now. Qin Haodong said, turned off the fire on the stove and brought down the porridge pot. Zhang Dafu watched from the sidelines. When he smelled the porridge, he was startled, wondering how Qin Haodong cooked the porridge that it could smell so good. Watching Qin Haodong bring down the porridge pot, he couldn't help but remind Dr. Qin, the soaked grain has to boil for about half an hour to eat. The porridge has only been cooking for 10 minutes. Is it not time yet? Never mind. My cooking method is unique and the porridge is already ready, replied Qin Haodong, holding the pot in one hand and the little girl in the other. Let's go, the porridge is ready. Yeah, the delicious porridge is finally ready. Tang Tang was thrilled to return to the table with Qin Haodong, her 2 big cute eyes fixing on the porridge pot, never leaving. Out of politeness, Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo sat at the table and waited for Qin Haodong without moving the chopsticks. Their faces glistened with surprise when they saw Qin Haodong return so soon, with a pot of sweet-smelling porridge in his hand. Dr. Magic, come on, Tang Tang can't wait. The little girl said as she swallowed hard. Hang on, it's okay now. Qin Haodong then filled a bowl of 8-treasure rice porridge, stirred it with a spoon and launched a little bit of icy life energy on his hand to cool it down. Soon a bowl of porridge with the right temperature was brought to Tang Tang. He put a spoonful of 8-treasure rice porridge into the little girl's mouth and asked, how is it? However, Tang Tang didn't answer him. She grabbed the spoon from Qin Haodong's hand and devoured it quickly. Everyone was amused to see how lovely the way she performed. After laughing, Lin Momo felt a little curious, is this guy's porridge really that good? You know, Tang Tang was a family treasure. She had eaten all kinds of delicacies and was very picky about food. Lin Momo had never seen her like eating something so much. Sensing Lin Momo's confusion, Qin Haodong filled 2 more bowls of porridge and placed them in front of Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo respectively. Here, try it. Lin Momo first picked up the spoon and ate it in a ladylike way. Then she scooped up the porridge as quickly as the little girl did, as if she were competing with others. At this time, she was not at all an ice beauty. Looking at the 2 beauties acted like 2 foodies, Lin Ziyuan could not help feeling contempt for them. We are a wealthy family, and we have eaten all kinds of delicious food. It's just a bowl of porridge. How could you behave like this? As he thought, he also took the spoon. When the first bite of porridge into his mouth, his eyes widened suddenly and he began to devour. Soon his porridge was finished. Oh, my God! This tastes so good. I've never had porridge so good before, Lin Ziyuan exclaimed. Dr. Qin, you're a great cook. Can I have another bowl of porridge? Qin Haodong smiled and filled Lin Ziyuan's bowl. Meanwhile, Lin Momo also ate up her porridge. Though her cheeks were flushed with embarrassment, she still handed the bowl to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong also filled her bowl with porridge. At this time, the little girl became anxious. Leave some porridge for me. Leave some porridge for me. Dr. Magic, leave some porridge for me. She slurred as she ate. Qin Haodong dotingly patted her little head and said, "Don't worry. There is more. Dr. Qin, can I have a taste?" Qin Haodong looked over his shoulder. It was Zhang Dafu, the chef. Zhang Dafu was full of curiosity. He had never seen the Lins eat with complete disregard for their images. If it wasn't for Lin Ziyuan being a billionaire, he'd really think he was Qin Haodong's capper. "It's just a bowl of 8. Treasure rice porridge. Aren't you too exaggerated?" he wondered. At the same time, he was curious to have a taste of Qin Haodong's porridge. "Okay, welcome to give advice," Qin Haodong said and gave Zhang Dafu a bowl of porridge. Zhang Dafu put a spoonful of porridge into his mouth and immediately felt a strong aroma hitting his taste buds, 1,000 times stronger than what he had just smelled. "This is the delicate fragrance of dried longan, this is the rich fragrance of dates, this is the sweet koik seed." He chewed slowly, enjoying the satisfaction the 8. Treasure porridge brought to his taste buds. At this time he finally understood why the Lins were so obsessed with this porridge. The 8. Treasure rice porridge cooked by Qin Haodong was awesome. Unconsciously, Zhang Dafu felt hot tears on his cheeks. Yes, he did burst into tears, because of the palatable porridge. Lin Ziyuan glanced at Zhang Dafu with renewed disdain. "You're a chef. How can you cry over a bowl of delicious porridge? What a shame." Thought with this in mind, his hand did not rest. Soon he brought the empty bowl back to Qin Haodong. Zhang Dafu quickly finished his porridge, too. Although he wanted to have another bowl of porridge, as a cook, he could not fight over the food with the host, so he could only reluctantly put the bowl on the table. He had no idea how Qin Haodong could make such toothsome 8. Treasure rice porridge. He watched the whole cooking process and did not see him use any special techniques. Pressing down on his doubts, he said to Qin Haodong, "Dr. Qin, I've eaten all kinds of delicacies in my life, but I've never tasted such tasty porridge before. I'm impressed with your cooking. I apologize for what I said." He was now convinced by Qin Haodong's cooking. Just now he claimed that Qin Haodong's cooking was not as good as his. Now he knew he was too confident in his own cooking. Zhang Dafu then bowed apologetically to Qin Haodong and continued, "Dr. Qin, I think you are more talented in cooking. If you want, I can recommend you to the capital right now. With your skills, you will definitely become a top chef of China, even an imperial chef." After that, he looked at Qin Haodong longingly. But Qin Haodong just smiled. How could he, the Emperor Greenwood, possibly be a cook? Only his relatives were entitled to his food. "Thank you, Chef Zhang, but I prefer to be a doctor." "But, Dr. Qin, please reconsider it. It's really a pity not to be a chef with your talent." Zhang Dafu continued with persuasion. "There's no need to think about it. I just made Tang something to eat. I'm not interested in being a cook." A hint of disappointment appeared on Zhang Dafu's face, and he said quickly, "Dr. Qin, since you don't want to be a cook, could you teach me how to cook? I am willing to worship you as my teacher." Qin Haodong waved and said, "You can't learn my cooking." It was not that his cooking skills could not be passed on, but Zhang Dafu really could not learn them. He, the Emperor Greenwood, was the only person in the world who could use it. Well. The disappointment on Zhang Dafu's face grew, but he could not say anything. He retreated to the side silently. "Dr. Qin, is there any porridge left?" Lin Ziyuan asked, holding up his bowl again. "No more, Mr. Lin." Qin Haodong answered. He had deliberately overcooked the porridge, but he didn't expect it to be eaten up so soon. Lin Ziyuan reddened as he realized that Qin Haodong hadn't eaten yet. At this time, the little girl patted her round belly and said, "Dr. Magic, your porridge is so yummy. I want more. You have just recovered from your illness. You must not eat too much at one time." "I'll do it for you another day," said Qin Haodong. All right then, said the little girl obediently. Dr. Magic, can you send me to the kindergarten? Noel, not today. I have something to do later. I'll send you to the kindergarten tomorrow, okay? Qin Haodong did have something to do. Lin Momo had agreed to let him be Tang Tang's sworn father. When her daughter called her father for the first time, he must give her a gift anyway. That was why he did not mention it this morning. He was going out to get a present for Tang Tang. All right. Dr. Magic, keep your word. Let's pinky swear. The little girl said, putting out her white little finger and entwining it with Qin Haodong's. After breakfast, Lin Momo took Tang Tang to the kindergarten, and Qin Haodong left the Lin family. Tang Tang's fever reminded him that little kids were weak and prone to get sick. The best way to change this situation was to remold the kid thoroughly. So he decided to give Tang Tang a marrow cleansing pill. Refining marrow cleansing pills was a simple matter for him. All he had to do now was gather up the herbs. After leaving the Lin family, he came to the medicine market located in the western suburbs of Jiangnan City. Chapter 10. Free of charge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Free of charge. The market was very big. There were small stalls nearly 2 kilometers long at the entrance. Behind them was a huge medicine wholesale market. In the wholesale market were large-scale wholesalers of medicinal materials which had high quality, so the prices were naturally higher. The stalls outside were all medicinal materials picked from the mountains by nearby medicine farmers. Their prices were relatively lower, but with good and bad materials mixed together, it was easy to get fake medicines. Qin Haodong didn't need to worry about these. As a practitioner, he was very sensitive to spiritual qi. He could distinguish the authenticity and the year of the medicinal materials at a glance. The most important 2 medicines for the preparation of marrow cleansing pill were Polygonum multiflorum and ginseng, which were hundreds of years old. He walked slowly along the stalls outside and still got nothing after walking half the way. After all, there were too few wild herbs in this era, let alone precious herbs of hundreds of years old. The scattered stalls were coming to the end. Suddenly, Qin Haodong's eyes were caught by 100 years of Polygonum multiflorum in a stall. The stall owner was a middle-aged man about 40 years old, who looked very different among many other vendors. It was midsummer of Jiangnan. Other vendors wore very little clothing, with some even stripped to the waist, but he wore long clothes and trousers with his body all covered up as if he was afraid of catching a cold. Even so, the middle-aged man still looked pale and fatigued. How much is this? Qin Haodong asked, pointing at the 100-year-old Polygonum multiflorum at the vendor's feet. The vendor got some spirit when business came to the door. He opened his small eyes and said, "This Polygonum multiflorum is aged. It costs 20,000 yuan. 20,000. Qin Haodong was surprised and said, "Isn't it a little too expensive?" In fact, he was just surprised that the price was too low. According to the normal market conditions, the price of Polygonum multiflorum of hundreds of years old should be at least over 100,000 yuan. It seemed that the vendor only knew that the Polygonum multiflorum was aged, but he did not know that it had reached 100 years. The vendor said, "This is pure wild Polygonum multiflorum. I have dug it out from a remote mountain. It had been growing for at least 40 or 50 years. 20,000 yuan is not expensive at all." Sure enough, the vendor did not know the value of this Polygonum multiflorum. As a modern young man with 4 qualities, ideals, morals, talents, and self-discipline, he would try his best to get the greatest bargain without losing any extra money. Qin Haodong said, "The appearance of this Polygonum multiflorum is not good. It looks like it has been displayed for a long time. Generally, people will not buy it. So, I'll pay 10,000 yuan for it, no more." The vendor hesitated for a moment. This Polygonum multiflorum was not appreciated despite its age. For more than a month, it hadn't been sold. "All right, 10,000 yuan. The vendor finally decided. After all, it was hard for retail vendors to sell high-end medicinal materials while all the rich people would go to the wholesale market to avoid getting fake goods. Deal. Qin Haodong was delighted with the fact that he acquired one main ingredient for his prescription. He took the medicinal material and reached into his pocket. His expression became awkward immediately when he pulled out only one coin. Only then did he realize that he was no longer the Emperor Greenwood of cultivation world with countless money. This 1 yuan coin was his only property left over from his previous life. What's wrong? Seeing him look so strange, the vendor asked. Can you sell it to me for 1 yuan? Qin Haodong asked, holding up the coin in his hand. Seeing the coin in his hand, the vendor almost fell to the ground. He had seen stingy people but never seen one as stingy as him. Are you crazy? Spent 1 yuan at medicinal material which worth 10,000 yuan. I don't think you're here to buy medicines, you're trying to make trouble. Go away, or I'll call the police. He immediately grabbed the Polygonum multiflorum from Qin Haodong's hand. I don't have any money, but I think you should sell it to me. Qin Haodong looked at the vendor and said. Are you awake? The stall owner glared at Qin Haodong. This aged Polygonum multiflorum costs at least 10,000 yuan. Now you want to buy it with 1 yuan. You must be sick in your mind. Hurry home and take some medicine. Don't go out without taking any medicine in the future. Qin Haodong said faintly, I'm not sick, but you are sick. You're sick. All your families are sick. The vendor was thoroughly enraged. Don't be angry, I really want to buy this Polygonum multiflorum. Qin Haodong said in a calm voice. Although I have no money, I'm not a troublemaker. Believe it or not, you will be willing to sell it to me and even give it to me for free. Free? Are you talking in your dreams? The vendor laughed with anger left behind, looking at Qin Haodong as if he were looking at someone who had mentally ill. This guy must be mentally handicapped. Otherwise a normal person would never buy things without money and dream to get things for free. I'm not mad. Why would I give it away for free? The vendor thought. Qin Haodong looked at the vendor with a playful face and said, Are you afraid of cold and ache in waist and knee recently? The vendor was stunned for a second, but then he figured it not surprising to find out he was afraid of cold since he wore most in the whole medicinal material market. But he was shocked by what the young man said next. If I'm not mistaken, you have this symptom for about 2 months. The general manifestations are chills, soreness of waist and knee, weakness of limbs. These are secondary. The most important thing is that your little bro has not worked recently, right? The vendor was completely shocked. The physical symptoms could be guessed, but the period of 2 months was definitely hard to guess. As for the issue about little bro, other people didn't know about it except himself and his wife. The young man must be unusual. How did you know that? He asked in surprise. I am a doctor of Chinese medicine, of course, I can see it, Qin Haodong said faintly. I also see that you went to a very cold place before you fell ill. Since then, you've had this disease, haven't you? The vendor's expression was duller. People like him often wandered around and went everywhere, no matter high mountains or vast marshlands. Once he went to a small valley, which was very strange. It was clear that winter had passed, but it was bitterly cold. Although he picked a medicinal herb and quickly retrieved, he got this strange disease since then. He had never said anything about it to others. How did the young man know about it? Well, am I not right? Qin Haodong knew that he was right from the expression of the vendor. With pity on the face, he said, I will not take this medicinal material if I was wrong, but you will lose the only chance to cure your illness if I leave. You may have to go to the palace to serve the emperor, but don't blame me for not reminding you. Don't go, buddy, don't go. On hearing that his illness could be cured, the vendor took hold of Qin Haodong and asked eagerly, Buddy, can you really cure my illness? For a man, nothing was more tragic than the breakdown of little bro. Having earned some money by picking medicines over the years, he had just married a wife more than 10 years younger than him. They were happy and harmonious in their lives before things changed since that time. His wife quarreled with him every few days. He was faced with divorce or being cuckolded. He also took a lot of medicine and saw a lot of doctors in vain recently. Some people even advised him to cut it simply. Little did he think that today he should accidentally meet a young customer who not only spoke of his symptoms but also said that he could treat him. He could hardly believe what had happened. Qin Haodong said, "I only treat people who are related to me by fate. I won't push you whether you believe me or not, but I certainly have ways of treatment since I can tell your illness." "I believe you. I believe you." The vendor grabbed Qin Haodong's arm as if he were grabbing a life-saving straw, and said, "Buddy, as long as you can cure my illness, let alone this Polygonum multiflorum, all the medicinal materials here are for you." Qin Haodong looked at the vendor and said, "If I'm not mistaken, the place you went to was very shady, where the yin qi was too heavy. Luckily you stayed there for only a short time. If you stayed a little longer, you may lose your life. Still, your kidney has been seriously damaged, I'm afraid you only have 2 years to live if not treated in time. What should we do then? Buddy, you must save me. I can spend as much money as you want." Qin Haodong's detailed description made his face grew even paler with fear. "Don't be nervous. As long as the cause is found, the illness is still easy to treat." Qin Haodong said, taking a needle bag out of his pocket, "Let me acupuncture you and your illness will be cured." "Really?" The vendor doubted. After all, his illness hadn't been cured although he had seen many famous doctors and spent a lot of money. "You'll know it's true or false only if you try it. I didn't ask you for money." Qin Haodong was only being patient for the sake of the Polygonum multiflorum. Otherwise, he would have turned around and walked away according to his temperament as the Emperor Green would. The vendor thought for a moment. It made sense since the Polygonum multiflorum was still in his hands, and there was not much loss except that he would be stuck by some needles. But once cured, he would have a happy life for the rest of his life. After thinking, he said, "Well, I'd like to try it." Qin Haodong asked the vendor to turn around and thrust 2 silver needles into his Shinshu acupoint on both sides. This illness was incurable for others but was very simple for Qin Haodong. Just to supplement the lost yang qi of the kidney would work. The vendor felt a slight chill in his back with 2 streams of hot smoke rose immediately inside him, followed by a long-lost sense of warmth sweeping through his body, driving away the cold breath that had plagued him for many days. After a while, Qin Haodong took out the silver needles and asked, "How do you feel?" "I'm healed, I'm really healed." The vendor was so excited that he almost jumped up. Although he had not done any examination, he was full of strength. The most important thing was that his little bro got worked again. All these proved that the young man was not deceiving him. "Thank you, buddy. These medicines are yours." The vendor's eyes were shining excitingly, and he almost kneeled down to Qin Haodong.